Welcome back to the Living Transplant podcast. In September 2022, we launched Great Actions Leave a Mark, a national multi-year public awareness campaign about living organ donation and transplantation. This week, you'll hear another story from a Great Actions model about their journey. In this episode, I was joined by Paul. Paul's partner was diagnosed with kidney failure. He acted without hesitation, thinking he could be a good candidate. After vigorous testing, Paul found out that he was a fantastic match for his partner, and they had a successful transplant. Please enjoy. Welcome back to the Living Transplant podcast. Today, I am joined by my guest, Paul, who is a living kidney donor. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Paul, I'm wondering if you can tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm the basic stuff. I'm 52 years old. I live in Toronto. I have a partner. We have a daughter and 3 grandkids. And I run a consulting firm. It's about exactly as exciting.
Awesome. I mentioned that you are a living kidney donor. Can you talk to me a little bit about that process and how you found out about transplant and how you went through that journey?
Yeah. So weirdly, before we even started any of this, we actually had a few friends that had been recipients and a couple of friends who had been donors. So I knew about it just in a, oh, wow, that's really amazing that you were able to donate and someone got one and it all worked out. And I never really thought too much about it other than it happened to other people that I liked. And then a few years ago, my partner got diagnosed with kidney disease. And so we weren't really sure what was going to happen and what we were going to do about it. There was a period where I think it was too new. And so we weren't going to do anything and we'll just live with it. But then things started to things started to progress. And his kidney function became worse and worse over time. And then during the COVID lockdown a couple of years ago, it started to get progressively worse. And weirdly, COVID actually was good for that because he works at consulting as well, and he travels and he's out and dealing with clients, and it's very stressful on his part. So COVID actually helped us all with that because nobody went anywhere, nobody did anything. We were sitting at home. He could sleep like during the day because he was getting quite tired at that point. And then we decided to look into the transplant option. And people always say, oh, it's so courageous and it's so great. I was like, well, what was I going to do? I care about him. No was not an option. Of course, we're going to do this, and let's figure it out. So we contacted the transplant center and started from there. Yeah. And then there's, if you're the donor, there are a lot of tests. I started with getting a bit impatient. There was like months of testing. There's ultrasounds and I can't even remember all the tests. There's more blood than I thought they could ever take. Stress tests, CAT scans, heart scans, ultrasound, all of that stuff to eliminate any problems that might happen or anything that might disqualify me. That just took a long time. I think that was actually really frustrating. We're ready. Like we are ready. We've done 800 tests. We were told to lose weight. We lost weight. We're ready. And then it just kept taking more testing and longer. But yeah, and then we did it.
Wow.
I don't know, does that answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely. How long from the decision to call the transplant hospital until you found out that you were a good candidate?
There's levels of, I would say there's levels of being a good candidate. I think I'm a type O, so I get everybody very excited.
Yes.
I can donate to everybody. So that was quite exciting. And then I kept passing all of the tests. So, uh, and then it took quite a while to find out that I was a direct match,
Right.
because we had assumed we would go into the pairing programs where you have a couple dozen people and you sort it out. But it turns out, just weirdly, that I was a direct match for him. That was pretty exciting, but that did take a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then did COVID stop any of that? Did it slow you down in any way, or were you able to go through much of the procedures and the tests pretty easily?
Yeah. I don't think it slowed anything down, to be honest.
Good.
I wish it had gone faster, but I'm not sure that's
Right.
actually possible. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it actually slowed anything down. So it was about a year. It was about a year from the time that we started to our surgery.
Wow. And what was that like, finding out that you were a match and you were going to donate?
It was pretty exciting, actually, because it really speeds everything up. If you go into the paired program, it can take quite a while for everyone to get sorted out and lined up. So it was pretty exciting. Yeah. You cried.
Of course. Yeah. It's amazing. I still remember when I got my call too. It was in the summer and I got my call to say she's a match and we're gonna book a surgery date. And I was like, she's right behind me. She's here. I live with her right now. This is amazing. And similarly, yeah, all of the tears came and just
Yeah.
it was amazing to know that you're a match to your person.
Yeah. No, it was really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then only a couple months ago, actually, we decided that we were going to launch this Great Actions Leave a Mark campaign. And we approached you and your partner to see if you would be interested. And you said yes, thankfully, to be part of it. So why did you decide to join our campaign?
I would say there's two reasons. One, being a donor was great, right? But the other part was our daughter has a very good friend who is very active through UHN and was a recipient of a kidney. And so she asked. And she's hard to say no to.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did it. I was wildly uncomfortable, but we did it. So there you go.
Yes. That was amazing. And I'm so grateful that you guys decided to do it, because I know you said a couple times, like, this is not in our comfort zone. Doing this because we want to spread awareness and we love the person that asked us to. But yes, this is not in our comfort zone. And I think a lot of us felt like that way too. I said to a lot of people, I'm post kidney transplant and now postpartum as well. So this is not really the body I thought in Queen's Park Station, but hey, we're here now and let's do it.
Yeah. But no, it was great. So I'm happy I did it.
Thinking about, you're up in Queen's Park, we've got the website, we have lots of interest now from donors and recipients who are watching your story and looking at your photos for inspiration.
Yep.
I'm wondering, as a donor yourself, do you have any advice for people who are interested in becoming living donors, but might be at that beginning stage of just looking into it?
Yeah, no, for sure. I had never had surgery before.
Oh, wow.
This is the first time I ever experienced surgery for me. Like, other people I know have had surgery, and as much as I was impatient and wanted to move things along and to get it done, it was also scary. You have to get a psychological evaluation, and they talk to you about all of the risks up to and including death, which is quite terrifying. But there was never a question that I was going to do it. So yeah, fine. I will talk and I will do and I will sit here and listen, but I'm going to do it. You're not going to convince me not to do this. And at the end of the day, it wasn't that bad, to be perfectly honest. So they took my left kidney, which they decided to take my left one. And it's really cool because your kidneys are in the back, as everyone knows, but they scoot it down and they pop it out the front, which is pretty cool. There wasn't as much surgical pain as I thought I would have. I went in on a Thursday, had my surgery Thursday morning, and on Saturday or on Friday, they said, we think you can go home tomorrow on Saturday. And I said, absolutely not. Because you had said 3 to 5 days. And I said, well, let's plan on 3. And you said that was ambitious. I'm not leaving after 2. Turns out I could have left after 2, to be honest. And I went home and I took Tylenol, like just extra Tylenol. Like it wasn't bad. Now, there were some things that I wish they had told me in the hospital. There needs to be like a pamphlet of things that they tell you when you're maybe a bit drugged up, or that you need to take home with you and read a second time.
Yes.
For instance, they say, oh, put a pillow against your stitches if you're going to cough or sneeze. They don't tell you to really push it in hard. Like, you're going to really push it against your stitches. Because the first time I sneezed without a pillow, I thought I was going to die.
Right.
I thought, like something is popping. Oh my God, that hurt so much. But it was fine. Like, it was totally fine. I thought, like I sleep on my side. So I don't want to sleep on my stitches because they're stitches. It turns out you should sleep on your stitches. And way easier to sleep with them on the downside than trying to hold them up. So that took 2 days to figure out. I asked my surgeon, I had a follow-up call a little bit after my surgery, and I said, my back really hurts. Is it okay if I go and get to my chiropractor and get a massage? He was like, yeah, you wouldn't believe the positions we twist you into while we're operating on you. That would have been good to know. Yes. A few days ago.
Yes.
And then the last one, I for the male donors up there is some manly discomfort that comes after this that takes a while to go away, which no one explained to me beforehand. So I was a bit worried about that, but it turned out it just takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I went home and spent a couple of days just pacing around my apartment, and then everybody's asking you to go for a walk. So you have to go for a walk. But I figured out that if I went exactly as far as I could get a bag of chips, and I could come home and eat the chips.
Nice. That was your reward for going.
That was my reward. I'm going to go for the walk, but as my reward, I get a bag of. So that helped. And now we were quite lucky. We were able to have home care come in, which was very helpful because we were both down at the same time, and you're not allowed to lift anything.
Right.
So when nobody can lift anything, that is challenging.
Yeah.
So that was actually really awesome. It's expensive and not everyone can do it. So we were really lucky to be able to have that. And then I was able to be home for about a month. Mm-hmm. And that was mostly just because I was tired. Like, I was tired. The recipients feel better right away. So my partner had a bigger incision, but he actually felt better.
Yeah.
Whereas the donors, we have surgery that makes us worse for a little bit. I was just really tired. So I was able to be home for a month. Work was really good about it. And then I went back to work just because I was really bored. And I overdid it. I came back thinking I could just come back. And I went home, I think, after like day 3 and thought, I can't do this. So it was like an 8-hour day. Felt like I'd worked 15 hours.
Right.
It was exhausting. So I just cut back. Like, I just cut way back. Mm-hmm. And I would say probably at the end of the second month, I was able to work back at capacity. And then by 4 months, honestly, you would never know I'd even had anything done. I felt totally fine. Oh, I was really itchy. That was the other thing that I told you about. I was super itchy everywhere, just
Oh,
itchy all the time.
oh,
And they said, oh, yeah, it's because, your kidneys you're missing a kidney, so you're not really cleaning your blood as well as you normally do. So, yeah, you're itchy. Oh,
interesting.
would have been good to know that too.
Yeah. Because that's definitely something that us kidney patients live with. The itchiness was like one of the first realizations that I was better was that the itchiness was gone. And I've heard so many people say that too, that like you said, your partner felt so much better pretty much right away.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much across the board. We're getting these nice, juicy working kidneys into our bodies. So we feel fantastic. And I think it was like day 2 when I woke up and I was like, oh, this is what people feel like every day.
Yeah.
This is wild.
Yeah. He actually said like he had no idea because it took years.
For
Right? Like it
sure.
took years of living with it before he got a transplant. So he said, I had no idea how sick I was
For sure.
until I felt better.
Mhm.
And then looking back was like, wow, like that was really bad.
Mhm.
So I was temporarily down with some kidney related stuff. But yeah, in terms of if you're thinking about doing it, just do it. Honestly, it was nowhere nearly as scary. And I know they have to tell you all of the worst case scenarios. It wasn't anywhere nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
That's amazing. It's
Yeah.
fantastic to hear. And I appreciate all of that as well because we have a lot of recipients or potential recipients who get very nervous when we know that our loved ones are going to be the ones who are donating. And it can be super scary to think about the risks that you're putting yourself in to help us. And I'm wondering if you have anything to say or any advice for people who have somebody who's stepped forward but are nervous about allowing their person to be their donor because of those risks.
Yeah. I mean, we had talked about it and I'm a bit stubborn. I don't care. Like I'm just going to do it. I think it was a bit hard for him to see me down like
Yeah.
that. I've never been really sick.
Mm.
Like I said, I've never had surgery before. So in our dynamic, he'd always been the one that had a health problem and I wasn't.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I was.
Right.
And I wasn't able to do things. Like I wasn't able to go to work and I wasn't able to lift anything. I wasn't supposed to drive for a few weeks. I think I drove sooner than I was supposed to. But I think that was hard on him
Yeah.
to see that. But at the same time, it wasn't that bad. So it wasn't like I was incapacitated. And I got better every day, right? Every day I was noticeably better than the day before. Um, I think any time someone does that, you're worried for them. But I think it's very much short-term pain for long-term gain. I think it's the best way to say it. Like I was short-term down for really long-term gain on his part. Yeah. I just do it. Just do it.
And this may be an easy question for you to answer, but it's often one that we also get from recipients is why do donors donate? Like, why did you want to do that?
Because he was going to die. That might be oversimplifying things, but there were 3 roads. There was do nothing and die eventually. there was dialysis, which he avoided. He was really fortunate in that. We've had friends go through dialysis. It's awful. It keeps you alive, but like it's a job. Like it's hours a week that you have to go and have it done, and it's really limiting.
Mhm.
And it's hard on your body, and it doesn't solve the problem. And then there was transplant. Of the 3 paths, the first one seemed like a non-starter to me. If he can avoid the second one altogether and just skip to the transplant, then that would be the ideal scenario. And that's what he managed to do.
Wow.
But yeah, I wasn't just going to sit there and say no.
Yeah.
It's just, of course we're going to do this. That was it.
It's amazing. So I'm wondering if you have anything else you'd like to add about your journey as a donor or the campaign or anything that you'd like to share.
I think the thing that amazed me the most was the science and the medical part of all of this is amazing. A long time ago, I knew someone that had a kidney taken out, and he was cut in half. Like they cut him front to back to get his kidney out. And I have a 5-inch scar and a couple little laparoscopic holes. He was in the hospital for weeks. I was out in 3 days. The science of it all is so great. I could see my partner's new kidney working during surgery. And he felt, like you said, like he felt better right away.
Yeah.
So that is amazing. And the care that we got at the hospital was awesome all the way through it. Because you have the pre-transplant team, which walk the donors through stuff. The recipients have a separate team that deals with them. And they kept saying, you can say no. Up until they wheel you in, you can say no.
Right.
I'm not going to say no. Like, just, you can stop reminding me every time we talk that I can say no.
Yes.
But like the care and the attention to detail, I guess, because they really want to get this right. So that's why there's 8 million tests that you have to do, because they check everything.
Yeah.
And if there was anything else wrong with me, they would have told it.
For sure.
So I'm feeling pretty good about that. But yeah, I think that was the most amazing part, was just how far the science and the medicine has come on this from 25 years ago when my friend had his kidney removed.
For sure. Yeah. It's amazing. It's remarkable. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being part of this podcast and for being part of Great Actions campaign. And then even
I was supposed to talk about the campaign. I forgot about the campaign.
That's okay.
Yeah. You said you're getting lots of response, which is awesome. And I actually had someone I know ask if I would talk to somebody they know, because they are thinking of donating just to anybody, not even a specific person. They just felt like they could do that. So hopefully the campaign results in a lot of positive action in the living donor world.
Yeah. That's what we're hoping. If we can even inspire one person to get interested in it, or support a recipient who's on the wait list to see all of these journeys and give them a little bit of hope as well, I think that's what our goal is for this campaign. So thank you so much for being part of it, for you and your partner for joining us. And
no problem.
Thanks so much, Paul.
Great to see you.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Paul's story from our Great Actions Leave a Mark campaign. For more information about Great Actions, visit www.greatactions.ca. If you have your own story you'd like to share, please reach out to us at livingorgandonation@uhn.ca. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like our podcast. Thanks for listening.